As the world starts to open up a little bit more after COVID, I think a lot of people are really looking forward to getting back to in-person speaking. And I think in-person speaking definitely has its place, but I don't think we should forget the value of virtual speaking and just how much of an asset it's been for us over this last year during COVID. And more than just the fact that we can do it, I think there are so many benefits to doing it. And I tell you what, if this doesn't convince you about the benefits of being a virtual speaker, I don't know what will. Let me show you where I am right now. Take a look at that. This is Torridon on the west coast of Scotland, and it's one of the best hiking locations in the country. And I want to tell you a little bit of the backstory as to why I'm here right now. Yesterday I had a workshop booked in for the evening, 5:30 until 7. And so I was able to make the decision to drive up here. It's about a 3-hour drive from where I live, to drive up here Monday during the day. I had internet access where I'm staying. I did the workshop in my new location. This morning I had a couple of calls, and then in the afternoon I came here. I came here to climb this. And I would have never have been able to do that if my workshop had been in person yesterday, because I would have had to have been wherever I needed to be. And I wouldn't have had the freedom and the flexibility to come and sit on a mountain 3.5 hours away from where I live if it wasn't for being a virtual speaker. Now let me state right off the bat, I don't want to be some kind of lifestyle entrepreneur telling you that you can travel the world and do what you like without having to work. Being a virtual speaker still requires the work. It still requires the same amount of effort as an in-person speaker. But what virtual speaking does is it gives you that choice about when and how to work. Planning this trip, for example, last week, I put in some extra work so that I would have things in place, so that I had everything ready, so that I wouldn't need to work this week and I could still fulfill the commitments that I had. I had my workshop on Monday, I had the couple of calls this morning. I could still fulfill those commitments, but be in a completely different part of the world. Well, different part of the country. Let's not get carried away here. And this is the beauty of virtual speaking, and I don't think we should forget that. I don't think we should suddenly go back to doing in-person speaking, because when I was just doing in-person speaking all the time, I spent a lot of time traveling and wrapped up in commitments to various workshops and speaking gigs. And again, not saying that that doesn't have its place, and not saying that I don't want to go back and do those when COVID is over. But if I'd had to do a gig down in Manchester this weekend, and that's something I've had to do in the past, that would be 3 hours in the opposite direction to coming up here. I would be 6 hours away. There's no way I could finish my gig in Manchester and then come up here and enjoy that. And that's what virtual speaking allows you to do. It allows you to have this choice and flexibility, not only for yourself, but also for the people who you speak to. They don't have to travel around the world and be in a certain country to see you speak, to be influenced by your words, to be impacted by your message. Virtual speaking, I think, really is going to be one of the biggest assets that we have in this industry for the next decade. So don't forget it. It'll be so much more beneficial for yourself, and it's also so much more beneficial for your audience. Because if you have work-life balance, then you're going to show up as a better person. You're going to show up with more energy. You're going to show up with more enthusiasm. There's so many speakers who get burnt out because they're just doing gig after gig, traveling here, traveling there. You don't have that same burnout rate when you're doing virtual speaking. So if this doesn't convince you to be a virtual speaker, then you might as well stop watching this channel, because I've got no idea what could possibly convince you apart from that.